409.
Welcome to Footprints of Pacifica. This is the show that we explore and discover the lure and lore of lovely Pacifica, its character and characters. My name is Kathleen Manning, your host. We're here at the Pacifica Coastside Museum. We're going to view an exhibit on the working model of the Ocean Shore Railroad. This is the result of a wonderful community effort. And a working model was made that shows the route of the railroad from the northern edge of Pacifica all the way to Devil's Slide. Here's Lindemar, and here's the road going down to Shelter Cove. Well, Shelter Cove was originally a resort. We are upstairs at the Pacifica Coastside Museum in front of the model of the Ocean Shore Railroad. You can see what an incredible piece of work this is. In 1999, Dan and Armando Vargas, these were two young men that grew up in Pacifica and loved the Ocean Shore Railroad. They decided that they would like to create a working model of the Ocean Shore Railroad. So they consulted with Tom Hutchison, who was a picture framer on Palmetto Avenue. And they consulted with the people that owned Valimar Station, Hal and Barbara Ash. And then they consulted with me, who was the owner of Prince Old and Rare at Crespi Center. I lived in San Francisco, and then I started living part of the time in Pacifica, but never really got involved in the community until I got involved in the Ocean Shore Railroad project. We decided to create the Ocean Shore Railroad Association, and the purpose of this association was to raise funds to build the vision that Dan and Armando had of the working model of the Ocean Shore Railroad. This was a vision they had, and they wanted to give back to the community.
Now this is a little brown church here, and this was provided by the Pacific Historical Society, which has been very inspirational for my brother and I to be doing this project. If it wouldn't have been for them, this project probably wouldn't have been possible.
This is a picture of the event that we held at Valimar Station in 1999. In it, you can see, here's Dan and Armando Vargas. They're standing, in between them is standing Barbara Ash. There's Hal Ash, owner of Valimar Station. Cal Hinton, council member, who was a big supporter of this. And there's Van Simon, who was a council member, myself, and then hidden back there is Tom Hutchison, who was president of the association. So we had a big party, raised money. We sold what we called gold spike memberships. Different amounts of money were raised by different people. People gave what they could. Donations as small as $5 were welcome. It was a real community effort. We had hundreds of people donating. It was very exciting. The Ocean Shore Railroad Association existed really only to build this working model. So the model that the Vargases built, they took the artistic license of bending Pacifica into a rectangle because, of course, it would have been too long, Pacifica being such a long, oblong city. It starts up at the Edgemar area, and they highlighted a lot of local features that people would recognize that are still in existence. And going down into the Sharp Park area, you see the Little Brown Church, you see the upholstery shop down on Palmetto, Laguna Salada at the golf course. It goes to the Valleymar Station, hits Valleymar, shows that railroad station, and then it shows the Lindemar area with the big bay, with the ship in the bay, Shelter Cove, and then the tunnel that existed to Devil's Slide. So it also shows the quarry, and it shows the Maury Point, and it shows the rocks at Pedro Point. A lot of really outstanding features are shown in this wonderful depiction of Pacifica. A few houses here. This still exists down on Palmetto. And the era is approximately in the late teens. Early, not quite, the railroad went out of business in the 20s, so it's like right before that era. Bob Pickrell built the case that the working model sits in, all the big structure that is around it with the plexiglass and all of that. And he also commissioned Helen Grayson to do paintings of all of the railroad stations in Pacifica. Those are available to be seen right now in the building by the Chamber of Commerce on the wall. July 11th, 1999, we had a big event that we held at the Best Western Lighthouse Hotel, it was called then, where we introduced the working model to the people of Pacifica. The show upstairs was consisted of about 20 train dealers from all over Northern California. And these are people that sell ephemera from trains or papers or all kinds of souvenirs from the old days of the trains. At that exhibit was a man named John Smalley. And John Smalley is the outstanding expert on the Ocean Shore Railroad. He's known far and wide, and he has a vast collection of wonderful, wonderful things on the Ocean Shore Railroad. And I mentioned to him, I said, John, the Pacifica people would love to have an actual car from the Ocean Shore Railroad. It would be perfect to have here. And he said, well, okay, if I ever see one, I'll let you know. And as luck would have it, about 5 years later, I get a call. John has located a car 1409, that we went up and grabbed as fast as we could and brought it down to Pacifica. Scott Lindner, my husband Bill Hall, and myself and the Vargases, we were all involved in getting that train car down here, and it was very exciting. And we are still excited about it and hope to have it on display very soon. The only car left from that railroad in existence. There's no other. There was one that was partly available up in Chico, but it just got dismantled and worn away. It just doesn't exist at all anymore. And we had a big event there where we had silent auctions. We sold coins. Mike McCoy, who's a local coin dealer, minted coins on the Ocean Shore Railroad. We had copper, brass. He had 1 gold and silver and nickel. They were beautiful coins, and we sold those. They were very, very popular. And we unveiled that day, we unveiled the working model of the Ocean Shore Railroad. It was complete. It was in the lobby of the Best Western, and it was a big hit. People loved it. And that stayed there for about 2 years. And it was a big, big part of the community. People loved it, and they would bring their kids over to see it, and their out-of-town company, and it just was wonderful. For a few years, the train received great attention at the Best Western Hotel. It was the place to bring tourists. It was the place to bring kids. Everybody loved it. However, things change, and ownership changed at the hotel, and they decided they did not want that big thing in their lobby. So we were faced with the problem, what are we going to do with it? It had to leave the hotel, and we really did not know exactly what we should do with it. We knew if it went to Redwood City, to the museum there, that it would not receive the attention it should receive. If we put it in boxes and stored it here, it probably wouldn't see the light of day again. So I said, oh, we could put it at my business over at Crespi Center. While it was at my shop, it worked, and it was still a marvel. We tried to get people to feel that they could come in, but it was difficult because it was in a business. So we did not get the attention it got over at the Best Western Hotel. However, a lot of aficionados found their way, and they would come and clean the tracks and get the train running, and they always enjoyed it, and we really didn't mind having it there, even though it was huge. About the same time that the train got moved to Prince Old and Rare, there began to be a movement afoot in Pacifica to create a museum. And the word was out that the Little Brown Church might be the perfect place to have a museum.
The windows, you could get the sun in there, as it was when the church was there. So
I've heard some people say that itself would be a good museum.
Oh, it's a fantastic museum. Hopefully that will be the museum of the Ocean Shore Railroad and also the Pacifica Historical Society.
There were a lot of obstacles, and the Pacifica Historical Society took the lead in saving the building. They had to go to the ballot, and it was a long, long process, but they finally won, and then they began to raise funds in order to actually open the museum, to make it feasible. And then Ken Miles came up with the idea about fitting it into the upstairs at the museum, and so that was a successful solving of our problem, and we were able to move this wonderful, wonderful item to a place where Pacificans can really enjoy it. Well, after Ken Miles came up with the idea that we could put this into the museum, Rob Woolenjohn, who was active in our Car 1409 restoration project, he's also a model, train model maker and train aficionado. He volunteered to take over and to oversee the move and to refurbish it. We're so grateful. And the Vargas Brothers have been giving him tidbits of advice about how they built it over the phone, but Rob has taken it over and made it his own project, and we're so grateful.
Scott and other volunteers, we separated, took down the whole box, the layout, and we separated the layout platforms from the boxes, and then we moved it up here, and then we bolted it and screwed it all together, got the angles right, and then we had to reconnect the track and clean it, and before we actually reconnected it, we had to make sure that all the wiring was good throughout the layout so it has constant voltage. And then we've rewiring everything and making sure that it will operate reliably, and that's the goal. And the Ocean Shore will run again. It's going to have the proper engine. It's going to have a 260 Mogul, which was running like in 1915. I guess that's about the right time. We're looking at this layout here is what Pacifica resembled, and it's pretty much a single track line that went down the coastline. There was a couple sidings here in Pacifica as it went through the Sharp Park area here. And we're going to have some good lighting. We're adding some power supplies, and it's going to be updated. So it'll look sharp. Hope you enjoy it.
All aboard the ocean shore, traveling down the old coastline, like the way that she did when your granddad was a kid on the ocean shore when 409.
Look, it is, you know what, the train really is perfect in here. It kind of fits.
Yeah.
You know, it just fills a void.
Yeah, that's a pretty good spot.
It really worked out. And I can't believe that all those years I had it over at Pacifica Center, thinking it wouldn't fit in here. You know, it just goes to show you, somebody has to come in with a new eye and say, of course it'll fit in.
Yeah.
It's coming!
I cursed my luck, you brought me through to walk upon the
let's start with the Vargases. Could you, Dan and Armando, come up, please? And here's just a small token of our appreciation.
Thank you, appreciate that.
Do you have anything you'd like to say?
Yeah, I'd like to say thank you. You guys all loving the model and loving history and keeping it alive. Yep. And I hope that you can go back and tell everybody that's here so everybody can come and see it and get excited about it and also help donate for the coach to be finished up.
Yay.
The best part is that it's in a church because my brother's faith and I, we just give all glory to him. He helped us. We were being filmed on Thursday, and we said, God's going to help us get it done. And we didn't sleep, but we got it. He did it. Glory to him. Thank you. We worked there for about almost a month, but at the end we had to give it all, everything we had left.
This is part of doing this kind of work. You're always under deadlines.
Well, my father was a drafting engineer. He used to work for the North Coast County Water District, so he's really an artist. So he kind of helped my brother and I, were younger, building structures and stuff, and kind of got us into trains. And just like, hopefully this will intrigue the new generation to enjoy the railroads. We hope a lot of kids will come here and really enjoy it. Well, the neat thing is I didn't know how people would respond to trains now because a phone is next to your heart, So when we did the Walt Disney Family Museum, we did the main exhibit in the Presidio. And I was kind of like, I wonder how the public's going to enjoy it. But we put a lot of buttons on there and for the kids, because I remember we used to go to Santa Cruz. And there used to be, put 25 cents in the train would run around, but they got rid of that one. That's a long time ago in the boardwalk. But yeah, the kids loved it. I seen, it's funny how life is, no matter what era, you're still a kid. And you think like a kid, and you just have those memories. And that's what intrigued my brother and I. We're still big kids. I mean, that's what keeps you alive. The dreaming, the hope. Always do what you love. Never give up.
How long did it take?
This one here took about, like we said, maybe about a month, maybe a little longer. But
that train took a month?
Yeah, we're doing it because we're working in our field. At that time, we were doing auto repair. So we're doing it, but then we had to take 1 week off. And the guy loved trains. He goes, oh, by all means, do that. And we had 1 week, and that's when they were filming us on Thursday. And all we had was just the bench work. We didn't have none of the mountains or anything. So in 4 days, we had to stay up all night, do all the mountains, and Chris filmed it. It was crazy. It was great. It was great. But it got done, thank God. Thank God. Yeah. Well, thank you for all the... Yeah, sure.
Oh, that was my question. How long did it take?
Yeah, I'd say hours-wise, that whole week, it probably took at least. Yeah. It was a lot of work. Yeah.
Including the outer part too?
Everything, yeah.
Yeah,
Everything. We had a helper that came in, a carpenter, and he helped a little bit, but I couldn't get him enough, so I had to jump in and do some of the work myself. But it all worked out, yeah.
Well, for the last 3.5 years, I worked for Kathleen. I've watched that grow dust on it.
Oh, yeah.
Whenever get this out of something nice.
Yeah.
It's just wonderful.
I think people are gonna really love it a lot. Yeah. I'm really happy that it's here at the Little Brown Church.
Yeah.
Great. So, thank you so much for showing up. Really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
One of the Vargases, I don't know which one, in 1999, you said that Little Brown Church should become a museum, and I sure hope that the Historical Society will run it. Oh, see? Very prophetic, very prophetic. You said, and you also said, I hope the city doesn't tear it down. Yeah. Interesting. So then, as I mentioned earlier, we're really fortunate to have Rob Willenjohn.
All aboard the ocean shore, chugging down the old coastline, like the way that she did when your granddad was a kid on the ocean shore, 1409.
A very small token of our esteem and our gratefulness. We're very grateful to you guys.
Thank you.
Very.
Thank you.
I just want to mention that, well, it was wonderful that Jane had written that article for the Tribune because it mentioned the model, and who I was. I was going to be helping with this. And the first day we get this out, I step outside on the steps, and who shows up but Scott, and says, "Hey, I read in the paper about this train thing, and I'm here to help." And it's been great. So I really appreciate your help, Scott. And the thing is about working on this model is that the vision was there, and they had Dan and Armando built something that was beautiful. It was just, you needed repair. And it's so much easier to work on something when it's someone else's vision. It's there, and you just need to fix little things here and there. Lots of fixing. But that's what took the time. But it was a fun experience. And the other thing about thinking about this is that many years ago, I knew you had that model. I visited your shop, and I thought, someday I want to work on that.
Oh my God.
And so these things, there's an incubation time with these concepts. Thank you very much.
Looking at myself 22 years ago. Time has no mercy. Incredible. Well, it's really nice to know that it's going to be appreciated again, and hopefully it's going to make everybody come to the Little Brown Church now and be blessed here. Amen. Well, today was a very special day because usually when you grow up, you have dreams, and sometimes they come true and sometimes they don't. But growing up Pacifica was a dream. We really enjoyed growing up here, and we did the Ocean Shore model. It was on our heart because we love Pacifica, and modeling the trains is what our passion was. So we decided to build something. We wanted to do it the best we could, and we had all the help of the Pacifica Historical Society, all the people. And today was a special day because for 22 years, this model has been built, and Kathleen has been keeping here. And in my vision of doing this, I asked her, when we first opened up, I said, well, it'd be great if it'd be in the Little Brown Church. And little did I know, it came true. It's in the Little Brown Church. So dreams do come true, and everything happens great in Pacifica. I'm very happy to be part of this today.
It's been a fabulous day. What I've enjoyed is seeing the community here and being so positive about the history of Pacifica, and in particularly the Ocean Shore Railroad, and the interest still in the project with the car number 1409. There's so much history here to discover in Pacifica, and whether it's the Ohlone Indians and the original peoples who populated this land, to those who are the immigrants who helped build a railroad and then populate this area. I mean, Pacifica is kind of a dream come true. When they built that railroad, the idea was to develop the coast side. And now when we drive on that Highway 1, we're going right along the railroad right-of-way. And, you know, there's farms, there's commerce, there's people living, enjoying the beaches, loving the beauty of it.
So when you drive on the Highway 1, pause to reflect on the view. You're driving on the ocean shore right away, dreams that have come true. All aboard the ocean shore.
The song I sang is about the Ocean Shore 1409 and the railroad, and how it was a dream to develop the coast side and to build this railroad. And now here we're celebrating the success of that. Even though the railroad no longer exists, but the interesting history of the railroad and the coast side lives on. And this event is kind of a testament to the community's interest in the history of the region. When I contacted Dan and Armando after speaking with Kathleen and about my interest in rebuilding the railroad, and they sent me some diagrams of how it was constructed, because it all had to be taken apart and moved. And it's basically 4 boxes with a layout on top, and transporting that and taking it apart was kind of a major feat. But having an understanding of how Dan and Armando constructed that was very helpful. And then actually Dan showed up and helped me repair some of the track work and explained some things about the model. I was in frequent contact about some concepts about how to make it work again.
Yeah, I really enjoyed coming down to see the model again and seeing all of Rob's efforts. It's really great when somebody loves what they're doing and they're involved, and it needed that extra touch, which is beautiful. I'm very grateful. My brother, I'm very grateful, Rob. Thank you. Everything's fantastic. It's a great venue. It's a great venue. Really great.
I hope you enjoyed that. Maybe you noticed inside the exhibit there was a little brown church, and that little brown church had a stairway right there by the bell tower. That had to be changed many years ago because they found that they could not bring coffins in that way. They couldn't make a sharp turn to get into the church, so they had to move the doorway to the front where it is today. That and many other wonderful exhibits are available here at the Pacifica Ca Museum. We'd love to have you come and visit, and come often. Lives of great men all remind us we can make our lives sublime, and departing leave behind us footprints in the sands of time.